Now, if you haven't watched Interview with a Vampire, then I highly recommend you do before watching this video, because I'm about to talk about one of the most legendary runs in history. Louis de Pointe de Lac, aka Big Louis according to Armand, aka lying ass Louis to some, but for this special occasion, he's Louis Walk'em Down de Lac, because that's exactly what he did to the coven in season 2. Now, to give a quick recap of what led to this moment, Louis and Claudia left a loving but toxic relationship in season 1 just to travel across seas to be in another loving but toxic relationship in season 2. They come across the coven, aka Armand and the Phantom of the Opera. Everything seems all lovey-dovey, but they are really plotting against Claudia and Louis to put on the greatest play the world has ever seen, featuring the one and only Lestat. Claudia gets clapped and Louis gets a sentence of banishment. Now, Louis was supposed to die that night as well, but thanks to Armand, that didn't happen. Bullshit. My man Louis spent the rest of his days in a coffin full of rocks with nothing to hear but the sounds of Claudia screaming. Once Armand freed him from his prison, Louis' rage had awakened and he went straight to work. Now, this was back in the old days, before people could get weapons so easily. They had to use their hands. So Louis couldn't just spin the block like people do today. He had to get creative and plan everything out. Just the thought of Claudia dying turned my boy into prime serial killer Randy Orton mixed with Santa Claus. Buddy was writing their names down, planning out everything. Started hearing the voices in his head tell him that, hey, if you do this right, you could be the next Blade.
There's only been one Blade. There's only ever gonna be one Blade.
Then Armand tries to tell him to leave Paris and Louis hung up immediately.
Good job, my brother. We rocking with you.
Armand tries to reason with him one more time, and this time it worked because Louis told him to not be at the theater because he's about to burn it to the ground. Louis pulled up to that theater with a machete, a can of gasoline, and the Castiel trench coat. I couldn't tell if he was trying to be a member of Team Free Will or the Book of Eli. Before Louis dropped his mixtape, he saw Claudia's area, and on the mirror it said, "Tweedly deedly dead."
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, them niggas lucky Louis just burned him to the ground, because if that was me and I saw those bozos disrespect my surrogate daughter like that, I would have opened up each and every one of those coffins one by one and stabbed them in the heart with a stake or decapitated them. Louis lights the building up, and while retrieving Claudia's things, this man finds time to oroform. Like, look at this shot. Tell me this nigga isn't oroforming. They need to change his name to Louis de Pointe Oroformer or Armor Forming Louis. One of the vampires tried running up on Louis and got his head knocked clean off. When it was all said and done, a total of 9 vampires felt the wrath of Louis Walk'em Down de Lac. 6 by fire, 2 by blade, and 1 by a combination of both. Last one got done so bad, bro had no legs, 1 arm, and with that last arm, he was holding his clarinet. Louis was just torturing this vampire for the love of the game. 4 vampires escaped, but my boy had contingencies like he was Batman. The Doublemint twins thought they were in the clear, but Louis blew them up from miles away. Now that had me thinking, if Louis was able to just blow them up from miles away, why didn't he just do that with the theater? Light the spark halfway across the world while drinking margaritas or something. He probably couldn't do that, or maybe he just wanted to get up close and personal with it. Santiago felt their presence disappear and started crashing out. But Louis reminded him that, nigga, your crash out not greater than mine's. Now Santiago, aka Francis, is a straight up bozo. This fake ass Robert Downey Jr. lookalike thought he was an equal because he's the top dog at the theater. But you see, Louis been walking this man down since their very first encounter. Louis snatched that man by his tongue in front of everybody at the restaurant just for mimicking his voice, calling that man a buffoon, and straight up said good boy after embarrassing him in front of everybody. Imagine being a regular citizen enjoying your ribeye steak, and you see across the room a black man leap across the table and snatch a grown man by the tongue in 0.5 seconds. Yeah, it's time to get that check, buddy. Flash forward to today, and Louis is verbally walking this man down, going straight 8 Mile on him. This guy's a vampire. His real name's Francis. Santiago tries to get the upper hand on Louis by saying what they did with Claudia's ashes, but Louis was on demon time and wasn't hearing none of that. Told that boy that he had a small Jimmy Wang gang and that his maker thought of him as a joke. Santiago finally found where Louis was and was ready to put hands on him. But Louis planned that as well, popped up behind him and decapitated him with the quickness. Look how beautiful that decapitation was. I think we need to watch it again. You know what? I think you're still not getting it. Let's watch it one more time. You know what? Now let's watch it in slow motion just for good measures. Louis grabbed Santiago's head and was like, "Keep Claudia's name out your effing mouth," and kicked it into the abyss. Now you see, that wasn't enough for me. Santiago is a spawn of Satan in my eyes. This Robert Downey Jr. looking, micro penis having, Shakespeare in the park acting as needed to be tortured for his crimes. A simple decapitation wasn't enough for me. Louis needed to go straight up Jigsaw with Santiago. Have a garlic lace rope wrapped around his Jimmy Wang gang and have him eat a bottle of Viagra pills, and the minute he gets excited, the rope is revealed to be connected to a window, and behind that window is the sun, and his testicles gets burned slowly. If you can't tell by now, I hate Santiago with a passion for what he did to Claudia, and it'll always be F Santiago till the day I die.
Fuck that nigga.
Okay.
Stacking prayers, stay out the way.
After smoking that Santiago pack, Louis was getting ready to clap Armand, but he lied his ass off and said he had nothing to do with it. So they pull up to Lestat and get ready to clap him. But Lestat was like, "Nigga, I got pull. I got the blood of Magnus and the baddest woman on the planet, Akasha, running through my veins. I'm untouchable." Instead of saying GG, Louis said, "You know what? I'm gonna clap Armand's cheeks out of spite. So every now and then, I'm gonna have Armand telepathically call you, and all you'll hear is clap sounds."
Hey, yo, what the?
Armand heard that and was like, "Alright, that's enough about that. I don't want to spoil anything about the show, so I'll just say this. 70 years of cheek clapping was built on a lie."
Where does the bullshit start, Armand?
I know this was a TV show, so they had to tame the violence a little, but I think they should have had Louis did more to the coven. I mean, in the very first episode of the show, we saw Lestat punch a priest straight in the face, so I know they could have did something special for this moment. I watched the movie version of Louis' Revenge, and there were some elements that were better. I like the fact that Louis was using a scythe instead of a machete because it made him look like the Grim Reaper. Also, the fact that Louis cut Santiago in half instead of just decapitating him like in the TV show. And that it showed all the vampires getting clapped instead of just having the screams in the background. But overall, the Revenge tour was beautiful and was satisfying to watch because Claudia's death still touches a core in my body. I cry every time I watch it. Matter of fact, the show as a whole can make you cry if you let it. The fact that it doesn't have the recognition it deserves is crazy. I guess maybe just because it's an AMC show, but then again, Breaking Bad is an AMC show, and The Walking Dead, and look how much recognition those shows got. But I'll just leave it at that. If you're a fan of the show or the books and you come across this video, make sure to leave a like and comment and let me know how you feel about Louis' Revenge. Also, if you're excited for season 3 dropping next year. But like always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.